Emma sat on a wooden bench backstage, her hands twisting the ends of her blue jeans jacket. Her black hair was tied back in a tight ponytail, just like her ballet teacher had told her. The other girls were fixing their makeup, some talking excitedly about who was in the audience. Emma stayed quiet. She kept glancing toward the curtain, hoping to spot a familiar face in the crowd. Her mom, Claire, crouched beside her. "He said he'd come," Claire whispered. "He promised." Emma nodded, but she didn't say anything. Her dad had made a lot of promises before. Most of them didn't come true. It was Emma's first big recital. Weeks of practice, late-night stretching, and learning every single step had led to this moment. All she wanted was for her real dad to see her dance. He had told her over the phone that morning, "I wouldn't miss it for the world, kiddo." She believed him. Again, a voice called from the hallway. 5 minutes. The stage manager waved his clipboard and rushed off. The girls started lining up. Emma took a deep breath, smoothing her skirt. Her ballet shoes felt tighter than usual. "You've got this," Claire said, squeezing Emma's shoulder. "Just do your best." Emma gave a small smile, then walked toward the stage. As the music started and the curtain opened, lights flashed on the dancers. Emma moved gracefully, just like she'd practiced. Every spin, every step was perfect. But her eyes kept drifting to the audience. No dad. Rows of parents clapped and recorded videos. Claire was in the second row, clapping proudly. But the seat next to her, the one she'd saved, was empty. The recital ended with a bow. Emma stood up straight, blinking fast. Her hands shook a little, not from nerves but from disappointment. She didn't want to cry. Not on stage, not in front of everyone. Backstage, girls hugged their parents, took photos, and held flowers. Emma looked around. Still no sign of her dad. She picked up her bag and walked toward the exit door, trying not to look upset. Outside, the air was cool. A man stood by the sidewalk holding a bunch of pink flowers. He wore a blue jeans jacket, white shirt, and dark jeans. His short black hair was neatly cut. He spotted Emma and waved. "Hey, superstar," he said, walking over. It was Marcus, her stepfather. Emma stopped. Her face didn't light up. She took the flowers he handed her, but kept her eyes on the ground. Marcus crouched a little to meet her eyes. "You were amazing out there." Emma looked up for just a second and mumbled, "That's not my dad." Claire caught up behind them, hearing the words clearly. Marcus didn't say anything right away. Then he smiled gently and said, "Maybe not. But I came." Emma didn't answer. She turned and walked toward the car. Marcus followed slowly, still holding the empty flower wrapping in his hand. He didn't push. He just showed up. The next morning, Emma sat at the kitchen table picking at her cereal. Her black hair was still in a ponytail from the night before. Claire moved around the kitchen, placing dishes in the sink and trying to stay cheerful. "You danced really well," Claire said, pouring herself some coffee. "You looked like a real ballerina." Emma didn't answer. She just pushed her spoon around the bowl. Marcus walked in a few minutes later. He wore the same blue jeans jacket from the night before. His white shirt was clean and tucked in, and his dark jeans had a few wrinkles. He looked at Emma and gave a small smile. "Morning," he said, sitting down. Emma didn't look up. She didn't say anything. Claire gave Marcus a quick glance. He nodded like he understood. "I'm gonna head to the store," Marcus said. "Need anything?" Emma shrugged. Claire said no. Marcus got up and grabbed his keys. Just before he walked out the door, he paused. "You did great last night," he said to Emma, then walked out. The door closed softly behind him. Emma sighed. He doesn't have to try so hard. Claire sat across from her. He's not trying hard, Em. He's just being there, like he always is. Emma looked at her mom. But he's not my dad. No, he's not, Claire said gently. But your real dad didn't show up last night. Marcus did. Emma didn't like hearing that. It made her chest feel tight. She didn't want to admit it, but it hurt. Later that afternoon, Claire asked Emma if she wanted to go for a walk. They went to the local park, the one near the school. Kids were on swings, families were walking dogs, and a boy was flying a red kite. Emma sat on the bench and watched. She spotted Marcus near the basketball court. He was shooting hoops with two kids from the neighborhood. They were laughing. He looked happy and relaxed. Emma watched for a while, then looked down at her shoes. Claire sat beside her but didn't say much. After a few minutes, Marcus walked over with a bottle of water. "You two enjoying the fresh air?" he asked. Emma nodded slightly. "You know," Marcus said, looking at the sky, "when I was your age, I used to come to this park with my mom. She worked 2 jobs but always made time to bring me here on Sunday afternoons." Emma looked at him. "Really?" He smiled. "Yeah, it's one of my favorite places." Emma thought about that. She had been coming to this park since she was little. Now Marcus was part of those memories too. As the sun started to set, they all walked back to the car. Emma didn't say much, but this time, when Marcus opened the door for her, she said quietly, "Thanks." He heard her. He smiled again and said, "Anytime, Em, anytime." The days passed, but Emma still kept her distance from Marcus. She liked how he was kind and funny sometimes, but inside, she was still holding on to the hope that her real dad would come through. Claire could see it in Emma's eyes, the quiet sadness, the confusion. One afternoon, Emma was sitting on the living room floor, working on a school project. Marcus walked in wearing his usual blue jeans jacket, white shirt, and dark jeans. His short black hair was a little messy from the wind outside. He carried 2 mugs of hot chocolate. "Thought you might like this," he said, kneeling down beside her. Emma looked up but didn't smile. "Thanks," she said softly. Marcus sat down next to her. "So, how's the project going?" Emma shrugged. "Okay, I guess. It's about family." "Family, huh?" Marcus smiled, taking the sip of his drink. "Yeah," Emma said, staring at her papers. "We have to talk about someone important in our family." Marcus waited quietly. Emma bit her lip and then blurted out, "You're not my real dad." Marcus looked at her and nodded slowly. "That's true." Emma looked away. "I don't know if I can call you Dad. It feels weird." Marcus didn't get upset. Instead, he said gently, "I don't want you to feel weird. I want you to feel safe. That's what matters most." Emma still didn't look convinced. "My real dad didn't come to my recital. He didn't come to my birthday. He promised but didn't show up." Marcus's eyes softened. "I know. Sometimes people make promises they don't keep. It hurts." Emma felt the tears welling up. She blinked them back, but Marcus saw. "It's okay to be angry," he said quietly. "It's okay to be sad." Emma finally looked at him and whispered, "I don't want to be sad all the time." "Me neither," Marcus said, reaching out to gently touch her shoulder. "But you don't have to be alone in this." Emma stayed silent for a moment. Then she asked, "Why do you even care? Why do you keep showing up when I say things like that?" Marcus smiled a little. "Because I care about you. You're important to me." Emma's eyes searched his face. She didn't know what to say. It was the first time someone told her that without asking for anything back. A soft knock came at the door. Claire peeked in, smiling. "Hey, dinner's ready," she said. Emma stood up, still holding her papers. Marcus helped her up too. As they walked to the kitchen, Emma glanced at Marcus. She didn't say Dad. She didn't say anything at all. But for the first time, she didn't pull away. Marcus smiled quietly, feeling like maybe, just maybe, he was starting to get through to her. Emma's birthday was coming up. She didn't expect much this year. Her real dad had promised to take her to the amusement park. Emma wanted to believe him, even though last time he had let her down. Claire reminded her to be hopeful but cautious. On the morning of her birthday, Emma woke up early. Her black hair was tied back in a ponytail, and she wore her favorite blue jeans jacket. She sat at the kitchen table eating breakfast while Claire prepared a small cake. Emma kept checking the clock. She was waiting for a call or a text from her dad. Her phone stayed silent. Claire tried to make the day feel special. "We can still have fun," she said. "Maybe we can go to the park or see a movie." Emma nodded but didn't smile. Her eyes were on the door. Around noon, Claire's phone rang. She answered it and listened carefully. After the call, her face fell a little. "He says he's busy," Claire said softly. "He won't be able to make it today." Emma's heart sank. She didn't say a word. She just pushed her food around her plate. Marcus walked into the kitchen, wearing his blue jeans jacket and dark jeans. His short black hair looked neat, like always. "Hey, Emma," he said quietly. "Happy birthday." Emma looked up, surprised. Marcus held out a small wrapped gift. She took it slowly but didn't open it yet. Claire smiled. "We're going to make this day special, no matter what." Hours passed. Emma sat by the window, watching kids ride bikes and play in the neighborhood. Her phone still didn't ring. Marcus came back from the garage with his car keys. "How about we go out for a little adventure?" he asked. Emma looked at Claire, who nodded. Emma stood up and put on her jacket. She followed Marcus outside. They didn't go to the amusement park. Instead, Marcus took her to a trampoline center nearby. Emma's eyes widened as she saw the big trampolines and foam pits. "This is cool," she said quietly. Marcus smiled. "Thought you might like it." Emma jumped and flipped, laughing more than she had in weeks. Marcus cheered her on. For a moment, she forgot about the empty promises. After the trampoline center, they went for ice cream at a small shop down the street. Emma picked chocolate with sprinkles. Marcus got vanilla. They sat on a bench outside, eating slowly. Emma looked at Marcus and said, "Thanks for today." He nodded. "Anytime, Em." On the drive home, Emma felt strange. Her birthday wasn't what she had hoped for. Her real dad was still missing. But Marcus had shown up. He had made her smile. And that was something. Back at home, Emma placed the small gift Marcus gave her on her desk. She didn't open it yet. She wasn't sure if she was ready to call Marcus Dad, but for now, she was glad he was there. Claire watched quietly from the kitchen. She felt hopeful, too. Maybe this birthday would mark a new beginning for all of them. It was a chilly Saturday morning. Emma sat by the window, watching raindrops slide down the glass. She wore her blue jeans jacket and stared at her shoes. Her birthday had been quiet, and the weeks since had been even quieter. Her real dad hadn't called. No texts. No messages. Claire came into the room, folding laundry. "You want to go out today? Maybe grab some lunch." Emma shrugged. She didn't feel like it. Just then, Marcus walked in. He was wearing his usual dark jeans, white shirt, and blue jeans jacket. His short black hair was neat, but his eyes looked tired. "Hey, Emma," he said softly. "What are you doing?" "Nothing," she muttered. Marcus looked at Claire and nodded. Claire smiled at him. A few minutes later, Marcus stood by the door, keys in hand. "Come on, put your shoes on. Let's get out of the house." Emma blinked. "Where?" "Somewhere fun," Marcus said with a grin. Emma wasn't sure. She looked at Claire, who gave a small encouraging smile. Slowly, Emma stood up and grabbed her jacket. Outside, the rain had stopped. The air smelled fresh and cool. Marcus led her to his car and opened the door for her. They didn't drive far, just down the street to a trampoline center Emma hadn't seen before. "You'll like this," Marcus said. Inside, the place was loud and bright. Kids bounced everywhere, laughing and flipping. Emma's face lit up a little. Marcus helped her take off her jacket. "Just go have fun." Emma jumped on the trampolines, feeling her heart lift. She tried flips and landed clumsily but laughed anyway. Marcus was nearby, cheering her on quietly. After a while, Emma felt tired. Marcus suggested they get ice cream. They walked to a small shop with colorful signs. Emma picked chocolate with sprinkles again. Marcus chose vanilla. They sat outside on a bench, eating slowly. "This is nice," Emma said softly. Marcus smiled. "Sometimes it's the little things that matter." Emma nodded but said nothing more. On the way home, Emma felt a strange warmth inside. She still missed her real dad. She still felt hurt by the empty promises. But Marcus was different. He didn't say much, but he showed up. When they got home, Emma went to her room. She looked at the small gift Marcus had given her for her birthday. This time, she opened it. Inside was a simple bracelet with a tiny silver star. Emma smiled. She touched the bracelet softly. Maybe Marcus wasn't her real dad, but maybe he could be something else. Someone she could count on. Claire peeked into the room. "Feeling better?" Emma nodded, holding up the bracelet. "Yeah." Marcus stood in the doorway, watching quietly. Sometimes showing up was enough. Sometimes that made all the difference. It was late at night. Emma sat at the kitchen table, a warm mug of cocoa in her hands. Her black hair was tied back in her usual ponytail, and she wore her blue jeans jacket even though it was quiet inside the house. The lights were low, and the only sound was the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Marcus came into the kitchen, dressed in his dark jeans and white shirt, with his blue jeans jacket hanging on the back of a chair. His short black hair was a little messy from the day, but his eyes looked calm and kind. He sat down across from Emma, careful not to make a loud noise. Emma looked up at him, then looked back down at her mug. "You still awake?" Marcus asked softly. Emma nodded. "Sometimes I can't sleep either," he said. They sat quietly for a moment. Finally, Emma spoke. "Why do you keep showing up? Even when I say things like, 'That's not my dad'?" Marcus smiled gently. "Because you're important to me." Emma stared at her cocoa. "But you're not my real dad." "I know," he said, "and that's okay." Emma looked at him. "Do you want me to call you Dad?" Marcus shook his head slowly. "No, I don't want to rush you. I just want you to know I'm here, no matter what." Emma took a deep breath. "Sometimes it feels like my real dad doesn't care, like he forgot about me." "Sometimes people don't keep their promises," Marcus said quietly. "It hurts, but it's not your fault." Emma's eyes filled with tears. She blinked quickly, trying to stop them. Marcus reached across the table and gently took her hand. "You don't have to be sad alone," he said. "I'm here to help, even if you don't call me Dad." Emma looked at him again. This time, she didn't look away. "Why do you care so much?" she asked softly. "Because I want to," he replied. "Because you're part of my life now. Because you deserve someone who shows up." Emma's lips trembled, but she managed a small smile. "Thank you," she whispered. They sat there for a while, just two people sharing a quiet moment in the night. Emma felt something shift inside her. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was trust. Marcus squeezed her hand gently. "No matter what happens," he said, "I'm not going anywhere." Emma nodded. "Good night, Em," Marcus said softly. "Good night, Marcus," she replied. The house was quiet again, but Emma didn't feel so alone anymore. It was a Saturday afternoon, and Emma sat at the kitchen table working on a school assignment. Her blue jeans jacket lay folded on the back of her chair, and her black hair was tied back in her usual ponytail. The house was quiet except for the soft scratching of her pencil on paper. Marcus walked in wearing his dark jeans, white shirt, and blue jeans jacket. His short black hair looked neat, and he smiled when he saw Emma deep in thought. "Hey, Em," he said quietly. "Need any help?" Emma looked up and shook her head. "I'm almost done." Marcus sat down at the table beside her. "You know, if you want, I can help with the hard parts." Emma hesitated. She wasn't used to asking for help, especially from Marcus, but something about his calm voice made her feel safe. "Okay," she said softly. Can you explain this math problem? Marcus looked at her paper. Sure. This one's about fractions, right? Emma nodded. He took a deep breath and began to explain, breaking the problem down step by step. Emma listened closely, her brow furrowed, but slowly easing as she understood. So you just have to find a number that fits both sides, Marcus said. Emma smiled. That makes sense now. They worked together for a while longer. Marcus didn't rush her or get frustrated. He was patient, and Emma appreciated that more than she expected. After finishing the math problems, Emma closed her notebook and leaned back. Thanks, Marcus. You're good at this. He laughed quietly. I try. Emma looked at him for a moment, then said, You don't have to keep pretending. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Pretending what? That you're not my dad. Emma said, her voice soft but serious. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be here. Marcus looked surprised. Emma, that means a lot. You've been here more than he ever was, she said, thinking about her real dad who had missed so many important moments. Marcus nodded. Sometimes showing up is the hardest part. Emma smiled a little. Yeah. The moment felt different. Easier. Like a small bridge had been built between them. Just then, Claire walked into the room. Hey, you two. What's going on? Emma stood up. Just doing homework. Marcus helped me with math. Claire smiled warmly. That's great. Teamwork. Marcus stood up too. I'm going to start dinner. Anyone hungry? Emma nodded. I am. As Marcus headed to the kitchen, Emma followed him. She paused at the door and looked back at Claire. Mom, she said quietly, maybe Marcus isn't my real dad, but he's the only dad I know who shows up. Claire's eyes glistened. She nodded. He's a good man, Emma. In the kitchen, Marcus was chopping vegetables. Emma watched him for a moment. Thanks for being here, she said softly. Marcus looked up and smiled. I'm glad I am. Emma realized something important. Family wasn't just about biology. It was about people who cared and stayed, especially when others didn't. Later that night, as Emma got ready for bed, she touched the small silver star bracelet Marcus had given her. It felt like a symbol, a step forward, a new kind of hope. Emma wasn't sure what the future held, but for now, she felt a little less alone. And that was enough. The days after the homework afternoon passed slowly but peacefully. Emma was still quiet sometimes, but she started to smile more. The small silver star bracelet on her wrist reminded her that things could change, even if it was hard. One evening, Emma was sitting on the couch watching a movie. Marcus came in with 2 bowls of popcorn. He wore his usual dark jeans, white shirt, and blue jeans jacket. His short black hair was still neat, even after a long day. Movie time? He asked, holding out a bowl. Emma took it and nodded. They sat together, and the room was warm and cozy. Emma felt calm sitting next to Marcus. She didn't think about her real dad or broken promises. She just enjoyed the moment. Halfway through the movie, Marcus nudged her gently. Hey, Emma. Yeah, she answered, eyes still on the screen. I know things have been tough, but I want you to know, no matter what happens, you can count on me. Emma looked at him and smiled softly. Thanks, Marcus. She remembered the nights she spent wondering if her real dad would ever show up. Now she was learning that family wasn't just about blood. It was about people who cared, who stayed, who showed up when it mattered. After the movie ended, Claire joined them on the couch. Looks like you two are getting closer. Emma shrugged but smiled. Maybe. Claire looked at Marcus. You've done a lot for her. Marcus nodded. She's a great kid, deserves the best. Emma felt a warm feeling inside. She didn't have to explain or prove anything. Marcus understood. A few days later, Emma found herself talking to Marcus more. They shared little stories, jokes, and sometimes even plans for the weekend. One afternoon, they went to the park nearby. Emma laughed as Marcus pushed her on the swings. She forgot her worries and felt free for a moment. When they sat on a bench afterward, Emma said, "I think I'm ready to call you. Well, maybe not Dad yet, but a friend, someone I trust." Marcus smiled wide. "That's all I want." Emma looked at the sky and took a deep breath. She knew her real dad might never be the man she hoped for, but that didn't mean she was alone. Marcus, Claire, and Emma. They were building something new, a family made of love and patience. One evening, as Emma got ready for bed, she held the small bracelet in her hand. It wasn't just a gift. It was a promise, not from her real dad, but from Marcus, who showed up when it mattered most. Emma closed her eyes and felt a peaceful hope. Sometimes family is about who stays, not who leaves. And sometimes that's enough.